This is Dr. Fahim Mushtaq. Today we're going to discuss the lecture series of Programming Fundamental, Lecture 7, Algorithms, where we discuss the flowchart and pseudocodes. Uh, First, we would know that what is algorithm. An algorithm is well-defined sequence of act or procedure to perform for the solution of a problem in an infinite number of steps. In C++, the designation identify a group of functions that run on designated range of elements. The algorithms are used to solve problem or provide functionality. It works exclusively on values. They don't affect the size or storage of a container. Simple algorithm can be implemented within a function, while the complex algorithm might require several functions or even a class to implement that. The algorithms can be represented using two different categories, which includes the flowchart and pseudocode. Firstly, we are going to discuss what are the flowcharts, their symbols, how with the comparison of any program, we see that how to design the flowchart. Okay, what is flowchart? Flowcharting is a method of designing a solution to a problem by using symbol which indicates action to be performed. So flowcharts include the flowcharts are the diagrams. The figures are in the form of diagrams with different connecting arrows, indicates sequence of performing the acts in order to solve problem. Uh, Now we will see that the different symbols that use to design the flowchart. So firstly, we see that the first symbol is start and stop symbol for the for any flowchart, and next is the symbol which show that uh, the one or more input operations, the symbol known as the input output symbol. Third is the processing symbol, represent one or two arithmetic operations. When we perform any operation, we use this symbol. If we take input like integer, f equal to 1, or any value we assign to any initialize any value, whatever we will see in the next examples. Okay, next are the symbols include the decision symbol, which represent a branches point in the program, such as decision take like x is greater than 10, and then the output is maybe print something else in something else, otherwise alternative solution it will print. So yes or no, it will give the decision in the decision symbol. Flowchart or errors that indicate the next step of flowcharts. In connector, the symbol we use for the connector, and out connector, we use this symbol from out from this circle, okay, used to show the flow from one part to another part of the program. Here is the control structure. All program written in the term of three control structure. Structure include first one is the sequence structure, which normally the simple program that perform in a sequence, which another word we can say that program executed sequentially by default. And second is this selection structure, where we use if statement and case. And the third control structure, which is the repetition structure, while do, until, and for. All these control structure one by one we discuss and with the help of and representation with the help of flowcharts. Okay, first we will discuss the sequence structure, control structure, which as we previously defined that the action performed in the sequence, in the sequence control structure. For example, what do you do in the morning? Firstly, you When you wake up, then firstly you go for the brush teeth, wash face, comb hair, smile in mirror, and have breakfast. And whatever you have to add, like you have to travel for class or you travel for office, then do work or taking class. All these are sequence of functions that used in this sequence control structure. If we use and discuss the selection control structure, which include, as we discussed earlier, if else and case and other one. So if grade is greater than 60, print something. Here is the diamond symbol. In other word, we say that the decision symbol, which is used to decide if the grade is greater than 60, then print maybe F grade, and maybe a print D grade, or whatever the decision have to you have to mention according to this statement. So simply we can say that this expression can produce the result in the form of true or false. Here is the example we use by using the if selection statement. If grade is greater than 60, then if the value is true, then print pass, otherwise print fail. Here we use this decision symbol, and moreover, here you can see that the out connector, here you see that the in connector that used, and moreover, this arrow indicates that the next steps of the flowchart. Similarly, a decision can be made on any expression, and 0 minus false, non-zero minus true. Example 3 minus 4 is true. This is what the example we use here, also as well as represented in the flowchart. Next is the if-else selection structure. Uh, in case of if, only perform an action if the condition is true. But another the selection structure, which is if else, which specify an action to be performed both when the condition is true and when it is false. So if the condition is true, then it print the pass. If the condition is fail, then print the fail. Any of the statement satisfy, then the output will be produced. Here is the exercise for you. You have to do it. How will the flowchart look like the following condition? If we mention that greater than 80, maybe the A grade, 70 to 80 B grade, less than 70 to C grade. This is for your assignment that you have to write. You have to design the flowchart for by choosing the if else, or if it's do you know better, because as previously discussed, purpose is that to explain you how to design the flowchart. So I hopefully before next lecture you have to complete this assignment and post in email or post in the channel comment box. Thank you. Okay, next is the next statement, selection statement is control statement is the repetition structure, which include while, do while, as we discussed earlier. While the programmer says specify an action to be repeated while some condition remain true. While there are more items on my shopping list, purchase next item and cross it off and in my list. While loop repeated until the condition become false. Okay, how we will see, and we will clear through the flowchart how the condition can be satisfied until the condition become false. Okay, product is less than and equal to 1000. Initialized value is 2, and product equal to 2 into product value 2 into 2 4, mean the statement is true. Then what happens if the statement is true? Then again loop, repeated loop start. Now the product value is 4. Now 4 is less than and equal to 1000. Yes, exactly, less than. So again, then previous product value is 4 into 2, 8. the product, now the product value is 8, then again come here the product value equal to 8, then again this decision statement start until the we have to move forward until we have got the statement is false. This is what the while repetition structure we use in our programming languages while we're writing the program, or here we can better understand through using the flowchart. The beginning of flowchart, we use the start symbol as we previously see that, and with this arrow we get the next direction for the flowchart. The first step is the input. When we start the flowchart, here is the symbol for the input. Maybe the input is basic service charge, unit cable cost, number of installation, yard of cable. Here is the decision symbol. Next is the processing symbol. Here we see that this is the figure for the processing symbol, where we have to calculate the revenue that is generated, and next we will see that again we have to see the once we have input symbol, output is the output symbol, print result on the output screen is the output symbol, which is also the similar like the input and output symbol. And once we have completed the program, what happen if we start the program, then we need to close the program. So when we close the program, we use the symbol stop symbol. Start and stop symbol is same. Here we see that these are the input output symbol, this one is the processing symbol where we have to perform some actions. Okay, example 2. If the average grade for 5 subjects, suppose that we have the problem of calculating the average grade of a student who have taken 5 courses. Let's start. Simple flowchart, start input of 5 grades, and then calculate the average as per the statement. We have to calculate the average grade of 5 courses. Okay, after that, output, print result, and the statement, and this closing statement for the start and stop symbol. So these are some kind of instruction. Maybe any instructor have asked you similar like the question, you have to design the flowchart by using these kind of questions. Okay, next, average of each student. If here this one is the addition, if the each student need the average, so what we can do, we want to calculate the average of each student in class where everyone has taken 5 subjects. For you, carefully read the statement, accordingly you have designed the flowchart. Now we see that for the first student we need to enter the 5 grade and calculate the average. Input of 5 grade of first student. For first student we have to design this, and after that similar calculate the average. Now next is the controlling the flow. Now, how control the flow? Then some statement will be needed to allow control to return to the top of the program to see if there is another set of student record to process. Because as per the statement previous, we need to calculate the each student average for each student of 5 courses. Maybe class having 10 student, so one by one all student once the average find out for one student, then the loop again move to the start, and again the give the input for the second student, then third student, then fourth. Oh, okay, here is the flow chart is also show that if more student output required, then again yes, again move for the second student, calculate average, then output, then again if more student in the class, then until the result become no. This is what we need to do. And after that, after the satisfaction of your uh, statement, and you have complete your flowchart, you need to stop the program. Once the decision output is no, then you have to include the start. Here we start the program, then the end symbol we use to close the program. Here is the complete flow chart for the students. We don't know the number of student, then we here that's why we here mention that the n student, n number of student, maybe we don't know. So until the end of the class, until the end of the student, this loop will again move and find out the average of the result. So next is the pseudocode, how we differentiate the pseudocode with the flowchart, and how we present our program by using the pseudocode. Here we can see flowchart were the first design tool to be widely used, but unfortunately they do not reflect some of the concept of structured programming very well. Pseudocode, on the other hand, is a newer tool and has features that make it more reflective of a structure concept. The drawback is that the narrative presentation is not an easy to understand or flow. It helps us to think out a program before writing it. Very easy to convert into corresponding programming language, and also it consists of different executable statements. Another word we say that artificial or informal language that help us to develop the algorithm. It's also kind of structured English for describing the algorithm. Here are mentioned the rules while we design the pseudocode. First rule, write only one statement per line. These are the some rules that we need to follow while writing the pseudocode. Second rule is that capitalize initial keyword, intend to show hierarchy, and multi-line structure, and after that keep statement language independent. These are the five different rules that use while writing the pseudocode. Again, I repeat, first one is one statement per line. Next is every keyword initial word is capitalized, intend to show hierarchy, and multi-line state structures, keep statement language independent. Okay, so now we will see that the whole write the pseudocode. Task list. What are the task list? Input name, hours work, rate of pay. Then we perform calculation, and after the calculation, gross equal to hour work into rate to pay. Then output name we will see, and or hours worked or gross the result that we find here. Okay, the pseudocode we write that like the read name. What is the input? Read the name or pay rate. Gross similar, the rule apply or formula apply. After that, once he read the statement and then write, print out mean, write name or word gross. Okay, so after it write out the whatever the instruction it read. Other capitalization include the read, write, if, else, and if, while, and while. So here the previous example we have seen that the read and write example for the pseudocode, and next we will see that the another different uh, indenting for the pseudocode, which include the sequence, selection, and loop. Same is the case we study in the flowchart. Sequence of instructions, and selection case, if or if else, loop, while, do while. These are the loops at intending control statement. Okay, so first is intending is that if we see that read name, gross pay or taxes, if the tax is greater than 0, then the result, what happen result, net gross pay minus taxes. Otherwise, net equal to gross pay. Here is the example for the selection indenting, where we use if else statement, and once we read the statement, we have to write what we need to show in the output. One is the uh, right name, and net maybe if condition satisfy true, otherwise false statement will be printed here. Okay, this is what the pseudocode writing style. uh, Second is the pseudocode and multi-line structure, where we have to read if else statement, and then right. Similar on the other side, we see that if the if, else, and if are constructed above, then the end if is in a line with the if. The same applies for the while and end while loop, etc. Similar the way we use while writing the pseudocode. Okay, so you have to see that the where we need a keyword for the capitalization and which include the indenting control structure like sequence, selection, loop. Both are the same cases. Pseudocode language independent, which resist the argue to write in whatever language you are most comfortable with. Remember, you are describing a logic plan to develop a program. You are not a programmer. Okay, you just give the logic to write a program. Okay. Here we see the comparison of the pseudocode with the flowchart. With flowchart, we also get the logic how we have to write our program. If the amount is less than 100, then interest rate 10. If 0.10, if the interest amount is not, if less than 100, then yes, okay, interest rate 0.06. If no, then interest rate 0.10. Similarly, on the other hand, if we write the pseudocode is using if statement, if amount is less than 100, same decision statement. Okay, then the value yes, then yes mean result is 0.06, else the interest rate 0.1, and after the end if statement. This is what the pseudocode where to write a similar example. We see that they differentiate the flowchart. So another example we will see that and differentiate the flowchart with the pseudocode. So here you see that count equal to 0, while and while loop. This is what the previously we see that if else, and here while and while statement. Okay, count less than 10, add 1 to the count, right count. Okay, then end while write the end. So with flowchart, more easily we have to see that if the count initialization with the count equal to 0, count is less than 10, okay, yes, add 1 to the count, right count, and then again loop move. The purpose of the while loop is that it is the repeated structure as we previously discussed. So it repeated until we get the value no. Okay, so add one by one until the 10 is less than 10 no, then write the end, the statement, and the um, end statement is stop the program. Okay, this is what we see that the looping structure for the flowchart. Here we see that the looping structure for the pseudocode. Okay, finally, the pseudocode was the flowchart. We differentiate. How we differentiate is that a flowchart is the standardized, visual, hard to modify, special software required to design the flowchart. So while on the other hand, pseudocode easy to modify, done easily on word processor. We adjust the statement easily, word processor, notepad, any other, etc. Note visual, no accept standard, varies from company to company uh, uh, up to the environment which used to write the pseudocode. So the lecture is finished. About the algorithms where we see flows, chart, and pseudocode in detail with the example. Now it's time for you to do the homework, and these are some of the statement you have. First statement is that how to create flowchart for any problem explain with an example. Okay, and these are such kind of question which may ask you during examination. Okay, these are the example for you, but you have to um, take it as an assignment and submit me within a 4 day. Why was the pseudocode suggest? What problem are solved And does whole pseudocode help to solve any problem? What are the differences between algorithm and pseudocode? Okay, so this is what example for assignment for you. I believe that with this lecture you concepts clear with how to write the pseudocode and flowchart, and with this assignment you have more and more and deeply know that how to differentiate the flowchart, pseudocode, algorithm, etc. with different example. Thank you for the today lecture, and uh, I hope that you people have understand it, and keep watching our channel and subscribe this channel. Uh, Due to subscription you have to automatically find the notification for the next video. You don't wait and search out the channel and see that if the next video available or no. If any video available after subscription, subscribe the file, and bell icon option active, then you find notification and you are find the next lecture easily. Thank you.